So, you want to save the world with clean energy? Make money doing it? Confused about the economic and technical realities of residential and commercial solar, batteries, heat pumps, EVs? Want the real-world scoop on new energy technologies, not manufacturer hype? Then tune in to the Weekly Energy Show, hosted by Barry Cinnamon. Insights from Barry's 40-plus years in the solar and energy industry will help you understand the future ways we'll generate and consume energy. And now, here's Barry. So, you want to save the world with clean energy? Make money doing it? Confused about the economic and technical realities of residential and commercial solar, batteries, heat pumps, EVs? Want the real-world scoop on new energy technologies, not manufacturer hype? Then tune in to the Weekly Energy Show, hosted by Barry Cinnamon. Insights from Barry's 40-plus years in the solar and energy industry will help you understand the future ways we'll generate and consume energy. And now, here's Barry.
Welcome to this week's Energy Show. Now, the residential solar industry is going through a lot of changes right now, and it's turbocharged by the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, industry used to be composed of a lot of small local companies, but now some of these smaller companies are joining forces, and some of these smaller companies have become medium-sized companies and now really big companies, and it's really great. These strong big companies are beginning to dominate cities and geographic regions. And one of the best run solar companies that I've ever come across is Renova Energy. So this week, our guest is Vincent Battaglia, CEO of Renova Energy. Now, Renova is based in Palm Desert, California. Over the past 10 years, they've become the leading solar installation company in the Coachella Valley, the Palm Springs, Palm Desert area. And they're recently starting to make moves into Las Vegas and Phoenix. Now, Vince runs a terrific business. I've known him for a long time, and in my view, this is just really from the heart. Renova is the prototypical, regionally strong solar company that just has a great long-term business model. So welcome to the show, Vincent.
Wow. Okay. On that high note, I'm just going to say goodbye. I don't think there's anything else I can add to that. I appreciate the intro like that, Barry. Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
Vince, it just keeps getting better. I mean, when I was out there to visit you a few weeks ago, you showed me all the expansion and you're just doing all the right things. So just for our listeners.
By the way, thank you, for taking time out and coming and visiting us and introducing me to your beautiful wife. And you are one of the OGs, man. You started well before me, and you just have consistently elevated our entire industry through all the highs and lows. So I've got to throw that back at you. If you're gonna embarrass me first, I got to give it. And that's fact. Anyone who knows you, I don't know one person who could say that what I just said is not true about you. So thank you for everything you do for the industry.
Well, we're both the same because we're passionate about the industry. We care about the customers. It's a long-term industry. It's growing the way we want. And we must have electrons running in our bloodstream. So, okay, we'll put that aside.
Some kinetic energy.
Yeah. Enough of the Mutual Admiration Society. Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. Vince, tell us about Renova Energy's business, about the residential, the commercial work that you guys are doing.
I began in 2006 as my MBA thesis and have grown the company that first year in 2006, built 3 systems, about $100,000 cost a piece. And last year we closed in on about 15 megawatts of business just in one location. So the Coachella Valley. We've got a metro of about full-time, about 500,000 people. We have a penetration in the marketplace of about 14% of all the rooftops. And so we've been working at it since 2006. Renova we fluctuate between a 35 to 37% market share. And that's just because, we treat everybody as neighbors, and that over 60% of our new signed contracts are referrals. So if anyone out there is listening and trying to figure out what their model should be, I would say it's a no-brainer to create a model where you get referrals more than knocking on doors or making phone calls. Those are quick fixes, but those are not long-term and sustainable ways of growing a business.
I couldn't agree with you more that if you want to make a quick buck in the solar industry, knock on a lot of doors, hire shark salespeople. But if you want to build a sustainable, steadily growing, cash flow positive, profitable business. It's based on referrals. Even though this is a one-time sale, you get a lot more money from those customers from the referrals. And they're going to put in batteries and expand. So, all right, we're on the same page.
And that's the direction, right? You just saw from the federal government. They just dropped on us the future of our industry by saying through IRA that, we want electrification of homes. All right, well, if you imagine that, you put a $25,000 solar system on someone's roof, you've got another $25,000 worth of battery work, EV chargers, software for smart systems, upgrading their main panel, all of the electronic breakers. There's another $25,000. You cannot say any longer that our jobs are just one time, throw modules on the roof and you're off. That is so 2015 thinking. If you truly want to stay and have longevity and make money in the future, you can, with the evolution of really what's happening in American homes right now. So I agree with you 100%, and I'm seeing it, and the federal government is nodding that, yes, that's the direction. Keep customers forever. Keep your touch on them. It's not a one-time sale.
Good. All right. So let me ask you a really hard question. Yeah. This is something that I have in my heart, and it's very painful. But what do you do when you have a very upset customer, even if the customer's wrong? How do you handle that?
Okay. I've got managers who we have trained over the years that come up. Everyone who is a manager or director, vice president, officer at Renova have all come up entry level. So it's ingrained in our culture that the customer, maybe you guys, someone will kick back on me, but the customer is always right. The customer is always right. The customer always has a reason for doing or saying whatever it is that they're doing or saying. Some do it with anger, some do it with vengeance, some do it with Yelp. Whatever it is, they're right. There's always an opportunity in that critique for you to get better. So we've just become, to a point when you're installing 100 systems, during a week, that you are going to have someone with questions, and I no longer can handle them directly. So we have management staff who will speak with the customer, and we do whatever we can to, usually it's appeasement through really just talking to them, visiting with them, and then delivering to them. Renova has a service division called Renova Plus, does cleanings and OEM maintenance and repair. We have Renova Roofs, which is a division under Renova as well. So appeasing a customer by giving them free cleanings, by doing a free roof inspection, by doing a gutter cleaning. There aren't too many gutters out here in the valley, but we do get, we do have areas where people get a lot of either tamarisk, pine needles, or issues with their roof. And so we'll do free inspections. So it's giving ourselves, meaning giving something for free to the customer to help them understand that we're on their side and we have a touch point with them. So I guess giving free things might be the faster response to that. But we've been very successful in keeping we've got a 5-star Yelp rating. We've got with our good friends over at Solar Reviews, we're the highest rated there. And with, we've got a little less than 10,000 customers over the past almost 17 years. And to be able to sustain those kind of reviews, I believe we're doing things the right way. And it's keeping the mindset all the way down through, the cleaners, that the customer is always right.
Yep, I 100% agree.
Yep.
And once in a while, it happens to us, there's just a problem. And the customer doesn't see it our way. Maybe there's a flaw in the hardware that doesn't do something that they wanted. Right. I mean, we had that experience with well pumps. Can you run a well pump? We thought we could. The spec said we could. We couldn't. And, you just basically spend a bunch of money to make sure that customer's happy, even if it's adding another inverter or battery.
It pays dividends. The neighbor, will see what you're doing. The one customer that I get upset about, Barry, that doesn't appreciate what we do and never will until they go bankrupt are the utilities. That's the most annoying. We are a customer of ours. We are assisting them in staying in business. And yet they just keep throwing more and more stuff at us. I don't know if you've heard that recently they have this non-compliance list that they've put out. And it's a ridiculous list that is buried deep within, the CPUC's website, but it is a critique of all solar companies, and it's a critique controlled by the big investment-owned utilities. They have an opportunity to poke us in the eye by putting good integrators on this list. And I just had another phone call this morning by an integrator up in San Francisco who's put on the list, but they challenged that they were in compliance, that they did dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and they got themselves removed from the list. So that list needs to be, I'm sorry I'm bringing this up, but it was something that was front and center on my mind. And if any of your listeners haven't heard about it yet, they may want to go onto the CPUC's website and find this non-compliant list. It's silly. It's silliness. They do spot checks, and they're putting a lot of good companies on that list. It's not going to hurt the companies, really, but it is just another poke in the eye from one of our biggest customers. And I wish the utility would change their thinking and their frame of thinking about what we do. We do an awful lot for them. Imagine where they'd be and the brownouts and the blackouts and all the suffering for their ratepayers if we hadn't come along. You coming along as 20 plus years ago, me coming along 16 years, and the other thousands of integrators. That's a horrible relationship for that big customer in the utilities to kind of set up and control. You know what I mean? I'm sorry for the soapbox.
No, I'm on the same soapbox. I also have the same target on my back from the utilities. I just think back to the near blackouts we had, a month and a half ago in the heat wave in September. And if there wasn't all that rooftop solar, there would have been rolling blackouts. There's no doubt. So they're our customers, but they're also our biggest competitors. But when there's fires and the lights go out and there's blackouts and the rates go up, they're also our best marketing channel. So that's true. It's like a mess.
But how about once in a while turn to us and say, with a wink and a nudge, hey, good on you guys for growing under all this duress. I mean, I guess that's impossible and rather naive of me, but come on. I mean, we're all in this together. And when we have God forbid, we have an earthquake or something, something very major that disrupts all those ridiculous transmission lines that are up, who is going to be there to put things back online and to help keep people, their food cold, and you know where I'm going with this. I think it's just distasteful. But yes, with most customers, it's about really paying attention. If something gets elevated to me, then I, of course, as everything does stop with me, and so I will go speak to the customer. And you eat probably once a year. I've learned back in the day I used to eat a lot of crow. Now it's maybe once a year. I'll go and do a mea culpa. But again, it's a learning experience. I always come away from a customer who has an issue. Always come away with, a new area I can look at to improve for Renova.
Yep, no, I'm totally on the same page. All right, so kind of looking at growth of the business, I read a brief article a week or two ago about your partnership with SunPower and about their new dealer program. Fill us in on what that is and how it's working.
So SunPower has gone through some transition in the past 2 years. They brought in one of my mentors, Tom Werner, has left, and he still won't tell me what he wants to do, but that's okay. He left the helm after 16 years, and in came an awesome dude, a guy named Peter Faracy, with a great Amazon background and a way of thinking of really Amazoning our industry, meaning, it being a little less technical, a little more focused on delivery and tying everything together, solar, batteries, smart panels, that kind of thing. And he came into the dealer network. He's made some fantastic moves, some moves that I argue with him are ridiculous, and he knows it, but he's trying. He really, for a person who jumped into our industry, and all of you who are listening who have been in the industry for 3 or more years, recognize that we run really fast. Our pace is super fast. And he jumped right in and bam, he was right in pace with us. He decided that there were certain regions that instead of looking for more dealers, right now there are about 450 dealers in the SunPower dealer network. Instead of looking for more dealers, he would promote the stronger dealers by investing, taking a minority position in the company. He would promote growth into certain regions that were adjacent to where those exceptional dealers were. And, I heard about it, put my head down. It was called the Dealer Accelerator Program. And I got a call from them. And they had brought in, this was after an acquisition of a great group of guys called Blue Raven, who were not in the dealer network, but had a great program going in the Middle America. They purchased them, $163 million. And then they started looking at dealers within the network. and they decided to choose 5 dealers initially for the Dealer Accelerator Program. Renova was one of those 5. They took a minority share in Renova, and with the proceeds, I sunk them all into the company for growth. And growth comes in many different measures. We've got our corporate center. It's helped us grow the corporate center so that we can make Palm Desert an even stronger headquarters. And then the next move will be into Phoenix. So we've located ourselves in Phoenix. We'll be opening January 1st in Phoenix. And then immediately following will be in the southern Nevada region or the Las Vegas area. And if someone says, oh, what are these markets, have in similarity? It's that they're all desert regions. I call it the solar Southwest. It's a triangle, a golden triangle for solar, if you will, and they're all tied together by the fact that the demographics are very similar and certainly the weather conditions. And Renova builds for desert climates. So it was just a natural for us to move further to the east and south into Arizona, and then, like I say, to move up north. And those are the expansion plans that SunPower said, awesome, we're supporting you. We'd like you to take those territories and represent our products and services. And so, like I say, that begins January 1st for us. So please wish us luck.
Obviously, we'll wish you luck, but the fact that you were one of the biggest SunPower dealers and now you're partnering directly with SunPower, no doubt in my mind that you're going to continue to make Palm Desert area successful, the new territory successful, and you're going to be doing this for a long time, just like me. So it really just gives you more energy and more gas in the tank, or energy in the batteries.
Yep. Yeah, that's the fun part's going to be really what's coming up, though, as you see it with electric vehicles and the influence that's Americana. Automobiles, that's our stuff, right? Americans love our cars. And as Americans, we also love new things, right? And that's why there is no holding back this transition from ICE, internal combustion engines into electric vehicles. And the fun part's going to really, and I don't have the answer. You and I kvetched a little about it. Who is going to charge all these cars? And, how is that going to happen? And there's some much smarter people out there than me who are noodling it right now. They're not in the utility. I'm going to claim that. But there are some very smart private equity folks and some great inventors. And our universities are coming out with some ways to rapid charge and, charge on the go and that kind of thing. It's going to be really neat to watch how that segment, which directly affects what you and I do every day, to watch how quickly that evolves.
Well, I'll tell you, you and I know who's going to charge it, where that's going to come from. It's going to be power from the sun, and it's going to be guys like you and me and other good companies are going to do that. All right. Well, we talk a lot about the business and the exciting things that are going on with SunPower and starting to get into technology. So let's just start where everything for us begins, on the roof. Tell us about the solar panels and inverters that you guys are installing at Renova and how that's been evolving over the last 10 years.
Very good. The reason initially 11 years ago to become a SunPower dealer was the Maxeon technology, which is still second to none. So we subscribe to that wholeheartedly. That's a differentiator between Renova and any other integrator out there. God bless all integrators. We're all in this together. You are not my competitors. You are my allies. So, but I do see a difference in the technology and the Maxeon cell that SunPower has represented for so long. And now Maxeon spun off about, I guess, a year and a half ago into their own group. And so we remain loyal to Maxeon and will install only the Maxeon product. So it's Maxeon. Their cell work is up to, you've got about a 425 watt at this point, some flash at 420. And of course, the Enphase microinverters, that is our core system design. We also have the SunVault, which is SunPower's awesome lithium-ion iron chemistry battery ESS system. And of course, we work with Tesla because some of the Maxeon products, some of the earlier Maxeon mods won't work with the SunVault. So we instead put Tesla on there. But I see that changing rapidly. I see the tech being integrated into the SunVault so that, we'll be using less Tesla and more total SunPower product. And that's by choice. They have an excellent product, excellent delivery. And, obviously everyone's out there rolling eyes going, yeah, of course he's going to say that. But I wouldn't have become that SunPower dealer if I didn't recognize that their mantra is quality. not knocking the doors, not making the phone calls, but building a real business and using high quality products. If you do that first, essentially measuring twice, and cutting once, you're not going to make a mistake. You will be a long-term player. You'll be as long as Barry in the industry. And I follow you. I follow others who have decided, you've been large, you've been small, you've been large, you've been small. And there's a lesson in that. This industry is not about a standard, grow really huge and be nationwide. It isn't. It never will be. It never will be. There isn't going to be one nation, wide. That's because you've got 3,000 utilities. So, it's exciting for us because technology is changing and because policy, legislation at the national level, at the state level, if you're a person who gets bored easily, this is a great industry for you, and so that's, yeah. I know you didn't ask me that, but
no, but no, I totally agree. Things change a lot, and SunPower products have always been top quality. The Maxeon products are great. The Enphase microinverters are great. I mean, heck, I started using them a dozen years ago, and they work and they're simple. And when it comes to battery storage, boy, I was just remarking to somebody in the office, I used to get like an email a week about a new battery company. Now I'm getting two a day. It's just like polluting my inbox. I can't turn them off. But and there's just so very few that work really well. And it's even more complicated than inverters. And solar panels are pretty elementary at that point. But let's talk a little bit about battery storage. What are the use cases that your customers in your area find for battery storage?
Awesome. For us, it is really backup. We get quite a few blackouts that occur for 45 minutes on average. So why a backup? Because I'd need to daisy together 4 of the Tesla units or 3 of the SunVault units in order to allow for, say, a fully operational home for 24 hours in the desert because our loads are so high. So we usually we're at 1.5 batteries, and our attachment rate is now 5 solar systems out of every 10 get at least one SunVault or Tesla attached to them. So it's not the cut the cord scenario. You and I talked, I guess, 5 years ago now about cutting the cord. I had written a book in 2015 and did a little second edition to it. And cutting the cord, of course, some people think that has to do with, cable television, but really it's more appropriate for our industry because cutting that cord to the utility is the direction that this state is going, the country's going, and the world is going. It all is on battery storage now. Battery storage and smart main panels that can control, as a mind, can control all of the home's requirements for electricity. And that's really the direction we're going. But we need to get our batteries, we need to get a standardization, I believe, of chemistry. We've talked about this before, you and I, but the solid state. I haven't seen much I heard from the MIT people about 1.5 years ago during the pandemic about a solid state battery, but I haven't heard much after that. So I think we're going to continue to, destroy the planet while ripping up cobalt and lithium. But solid state is really an exciting thing. I think all your listeners should Google a solid state battery, and that's cool stuff. That you don't have heat issues. What have you heard about that, by the way? Have you?
Yeah, I've been looking at it for a long time, and it's just kind of coincidentally, but there's a guy named Yet-Ming Chang who was behind A123 and then kind of succeeded with that. It was an early battery company. Now he's got a solid state battery. And his name is kind of familiar to me because he was in the same dormitory as I was in school. And definitely solid state's the way to go. There's a big company here in San Jose area that's coming out with another kind of solid state battery. But I'm going to be patient when it comes to, I remember you and I are the same way. It's like brand new solar panels. Let's make sure they work. Brand new inverters. Let somebody else make the mistakes on those. Brand new batteries, especially because we know how volatile they can be and how unreliable they can be. But when you get a company like SunPower, like Tesla, like SolarEdge, like Enphase, like even Franklin, which is using CATL batteries, those companies are going to be successful, and I'm willing to hitch my wagon to those to make sure that they're going to go.
Well, they will back it. I mean, you've got Total is backing SunPower, and Total, 9th largest energy company. SunPower is a $1.1 billion company. So the warranties that are built into the products and services they roll out, really are necessary, when technology is changing so quickly. We were talking a little about building integrated photovoltaic and how you and I are just waiting to tie our, to kites to a successful BIPV PV tile solution. But that doesn't seem to be, Tesla tried, and that's because Elon has this amazing mind and he's leaning forward, but it doesn't seem to be ready for prime time. Another change, I saw you were doing an interview at RE Plus in Anaheim, so I wasn't able to grab you, but did you get a chance to look at, speaking of new technology, the First Solar hybrid module that was at the SunPower booth? I don't know if you got a chance to look at that or if you've spoken to anybody about that yet. It's about 2 years away still.
Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with it. I'm very familiar with First Solar's products and the people there, and obviously SunPower going back to the beginning. And I totally agree with everything you're talking about related to roof tiles. It's just so compelling. It's so logical. But it's just so hard to do on an affordable basis. And, Ken, we talked about roofing too. So we have no plans at all to be roofers because we always put the solar panels on the top of the roof. But if the tiles really do take off and if there's a reliable product, then we'll have to have a roofing division. But we're only going to do solar tile roofing. So that's what we'll do. But coming back.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Coming back to the SunPower First Solar product, my only hesitation goes back to the fact that and I'm not sure exactly the chemistry that First Solar is using with SunPower, but historically the First Solar products use cadmium telluride as the active photovoltaic material. And cadmium, it brings some additional safety issues in when you're talking about a residential product that you don't necessarily have on utility scale. So that's my only hesitation on it, kind of see how they're able to address that.
Right. And it's interesting because they take that thin film product of theirs and they layer it. They put it on top of standard, I think it is polysilicon. And they claim that combination will allow them a 30+% efficiency out of this new module that's coming out. It'll be a 500 watt module and it's super sexy. I mean, I know you and I geek out on how sexy roofs that face west or south are, but now you've got a module that it honestly, Barry, it looked like a large screen TV with no edges on it. There was no framing because that's, First Solar style. And it was like a skylight. It was gorgeous, all black. You saw only the thin film and just reflective glass on top of it. So that was exciting. They had it there and, people were kind of walking around it. They didn't know what to make of it. And so they passed by. But to me, that was one of the most exciting displays at RE Plus.
Well, if there's any organization and company that can kind of figure out how to get that to market successfully, it's going to be SunPower. So they've got a really good partnership there, and they're partnering in the right direction that SunPower's been going in all along, which is great aesthetics and higher efficiency, and that's what people want. So that makes a lot of sense. So let's change gears a little bit. The roof tile is definitely challenging. But what are you doing to generate that long-term customer satisfaction, those touches with customers through, the 25-year lifespan of the equipment? And what kind of support services do you provide to those customers?
Right on. Well, that was why Renova, under the Renova umbrella, we've got a service division, which I began in 2008 as a way creating a bond after the install. Certainly it was a way I used the Renova Plus, which is a service division. I used it as a loss leader, as a way to say, well, look, we'll come and clean your panels for the break-in validation period of the first 2 years of the arrays that we're about to put up. We'll keep them clean. We'll be there to inspect them. And that's Renova Plus. And then as time went on, it became less of, we didn't really have to use it to win business. Our reputation preceded us. It was really a way to keep touch with the customer, also a way to keep our trucks out there rolling with the Renova brand on it. And so that is a very important way by building these divisions that are more like bridges, long-lasting bridges to the customer. And so I did the same thing with the roofing, because exactly what you said about 8 minutes ago, when BIPV does take off, I would suggest to anyone listening that they should now begin to investigate. In California, it's called a C39 roofing contractor's license. I would investigate really getting your C39 to be ready so that you can have roofing crews, so that you are installing, you're removing old modules are going to come off of roofs, right? Because, there's some systems that have been out there for 20 years. And also, if there's no old, say, system on a roof, a PV, you're still going to remove the tiles, the comp shingle. You're going to want to have your crews not just able to put a power plant on, but they should be able to understand the underlayment, because that's really, it's felt, it's edging, and then you're putting your BIPV on. So why I'm going into that is because I could see that coming down the pike, I decided to open up Renova Roofs. And so now what does Roofs do? Roofs becomes another point of contact for customers and a differentiator for Renova, because we can furnish that customer with a total roof solution before we put the PV on. And then we've now got this 25-year relationship with them because of the work on the roof. They may not take Renova Plus service, but they will be there when we need to do roofing service. So that all of that is incidental revenue. All the services that come for the warranty 25-year period, that's the way that you should look at your relationship with the customers. How can I get back out there again once the PV's on the roof and the battery is in the garage? There is that. And then, of course, we have a monthly newsletter that we take information like on net metering, things that are out there in the white noise realm that our current customers know about, and break down that information, the policy events that are happening, the IRA. Folks had a lot of questions about that. So we use our newsletter as a way to get out to our almost 10,000 customers. We send it to them monthly. And that's a nice way to keep touch. And then, of course, your referral payments. Those are always fun. We found a great way to track. And I would suggest that anyone out there who has a referral program, but it may be a little wonky, a little clumsy, there's software out there now that can attach to either your Salesforce or whatever financial tools you're using, and it will trigger in red and green flag when a system is completed that needs to pay a referral fee. So it makes it automated and super easy, and you send a check. We're a $500 referral. That seems to be pretty standard. And folks love that. I mean, they want to refer Renova anyway. That's what they tell me. But I think the $500 helps as well. So those really are the three things I would say. Looking to build your brand vertically. Don't go into babysitting or to car washing because it's an incidental revenue stream. Stick with, like we have, there's a service of solar and battery only. There's a roofing for homes that have solar on them. And then, of course, there's our microgrid installation. Then you got a newsletter, which I think is super important. You can just take blog things off of the internet and create a newsletter, for yourself. And it's super easy. And then there's a referral program. Those three things, I would say that's how you build a nice base of customer referrals that'll last for decades to come.
And then you got to stick with it. You've got to make sure that you're maintaining that customer satisfaction come hell or high water, and it's sometimes difficult. And, companies with the right attitude, the right ethics, they're going to be the ones that grow, and the ones that are less ethical are going to get a bad reputation, they disappear.
Barry, if this was easy, man, everybody would be doing it, right? I mean, if this was easy, the conversion would have already occurred, and it hasn't yet. So if people are coming to this industry and they're only in it a year, hang on, have fun with it and grow with it, because the world is going in the direction of the industry that you found.
Yep. And then, definitely buckle up, because it's the solar coaster and we're on one of those rapid rises, especially here in California. All right. So Vince, how can people get in touch with Renova Energy?
All right on. Let's see, RenovaEnergy.com. There is that. You can always write to me, but I have a really difficult last name for a lot of people. So you can write to me and you can find me on the website. So everything really funnels right to the website. Our phone number, the direct line that I've had since 2006, is 760 number. It's 568-3413. But again, just going to RenovaEnergy.com or Renova.energy. Oh, and if anyone doesn't have your .energy or your .solar yet, you better jump online, go to GoDaddy, and go reserve your .solar domain or your .energy domain. That'll just make it much easier for SEO to help people find your organization when they Google.
All right. All fantastic hints, fantastic advice. Just always really good talking to you, Vince.
Really good. Thank you.
And just keep doing exactly what you're doing. You're going to succeed and help everybody else. Thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in. And if you missed any of today's show, you can always go to our website at cinnamon.energy and listen to the podcasts.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's Energy Show. Barry wants everyone to benefit from clean energy. So if you missed any of today's show, you can go to our website at cinnamon.energy and listen to the podcasts. So, you want to save the world with clean energy? Make money doing it? Confused about the economic and technical realities of residential and commercial solar, batteries, heat pumps, EVs? Want the real-world scoop on new energy technologies, not manufacturer hype? Then tune in to the weekly Energy Show, hosted by Barry Cinnamon. Insights from Barry's 40-plus years in the solar and energy industry will help you understand the future ways we'll generate and consume energy. And now, here's Barry.